Hello, I'm Peter Miller, and I'm going to give you 10 good reasons why assisted suicide should never be legalized in America. Number 1. Assisted suicide turns doctors into killers. The American Medical Association rejects physician-assisted suicide in the following terms. Allowing physicians to participate in assisted suicide would cause more harm than good. Physician-assisted suicide is fundamentally incompatible with the physician's role as healer, would be difficult or impossible to control, and would pose serious societal risks. Number 2. Assisted suicide endangers the weak and vulnerable.
Wherever assisted suicide has been legalized, safeguards to protect the ill have been inadequate, watered down, or even eliminated over time. People who deserve society's help are instead treated like chattel and offered death.
Number 3. Assisted suicide laws give societal approval to killing.
Legislation that allows people to end their lives automatically creates incentives to seek death as a cost-saving option. The elderly and infirm are seen as burdens and can easily be disposed of.
Number 4. Just call it what it is, suicide.
Under the false guise of compassion, all sorts of names are being used to force this dangerous legislation on America. Phrases such as aid in dying, end-of-life options, and death with dignity. But there's no getting around the truth. These laws allow doctors to administer drugs made to facilitate suicide. Even more insidious, the lethal drugs are falsely labeled as medication. This so-called medication is designed to kill, not heal.
Number 5. Assisted suicide laws are unfair to the disabled.
The vast majority of those requesting assisted suicide in Oregon was not because of pain, but the loss of functional ability. The mindset involved in allowing the practice of assisted suicide equates disability with a loss of dignity. But every day, thousands of disabled Americans rely on the assistance of others without any loss of dignity.
Number 6. Assisted suicide laws lead to euthanasia.
Euthanasia, defined as the practice of intentionally ending a life in order to end pain and suffering, has followed wherever assisted suicide laws have been enacted. And instead of the suffering person requesting it, euthanasia is administered by others with or without patient consent.
Dr. Herbert Hendon, writing in the Psychiatric Times, sums up what happened in the Netherlands. The Netherlands has moved from assisted suicide to euthanasia, from euthanasia for the terminally ill to euthanasia for the chronically ill, from euthanasia for physical illness to euthanasia for psychological distress, and from voluntary euthanasia to involuntary euthanasia.
In fact, the Dutch now kill patients and babies born with deformities.
Number 7. Assisted suicide laws put the poor at risk.
Those without financial resources are the most at risk from this dangerous legislation because suicide becomes the cheap alternative for the poor who can't afford costly treatment and medication.
So by passing assisted suicide laws, the state takes an interest in promoting the suicide of its citizens in order to save money. In fact, many insurance companies also favor assisted suicide because it saves them a lot of money.
Number 8. It pressures dying people to end their own lives.
Those coping with terminal illness are pressured to take the easy way out. Don't be a burden becomes a powerful temptation to end one's life.
Instead of cherishing the sunset of life, a terminally ill person's last moments are deliberately cut short. Laws of this type also allow relatives and family members to kill in order to access inheritances and take advantage of the situation.
Number 9. 3.4 million nurses oppose assisted suicide. The American Nurses Association, which represents 3.4 million registered nurses, has clearly stated that the nurse should not participate in assisted suicide. Such an act is in violation of the Code for Nurses and the ethical traditions of the profession. Number 10. Assisted suicide laws go against the law of God.
The practice of suicide goes against the fifth commandment, thou shalt not kill. This commandment, of course, prohibits the murder of oneself and the murder of others. And the state has no right to approve laws contrary to the moral law and divine law.
Do you know what the difference is between civilization and savagery? The difference is the respect for natural law. Even the pagans knew how natural law is ingrained in our rational human nature. We tend to do good and avoid evil. So, to kill oneself or to help another person kill himself shatters that fundamental principle of natural law and paves the way for a new Stone Age of dog-eat-dog, barbaric savagery.
The gap between assisted suicide and mandatory suicide can be very, very narrow. Who can guarantee that the legislation for assisted suicide today won't prepare the way for a new version of Auschwitz tomorrow?
God bless you, and thank you for watching. And please help us defend moral values by subscribing here and hitting the thumbs up button.